Hello, I'm Solbert, I'm the computer voice of Seoul, Texas company. In order to evaluate or test FWCloud, you don't need a server and complete all the steps to have a FWCloud installed. Instead of that, you can use a Docker image. If we check the documentation about the installation of FWCloud, we can see there are two methods of installing FWCloud, using FWCloud installer script or using a Docker image. Let's see how we can proceed using the Docker one. It requires to have Docker Compose. If it is installed in your system, then you only have to run one line. In this demo we are going to use a fresh installed Ubuntu computer, but the process is quite similar in other distributions. Since we don't have Docker Compose, we need to install it. But first, let's review the network interfaces we have, because Docker installation is going to create new ones. It requires to install Docker. We accept the default option. Now we install Docker Compose. And again we accept the defaults. Now we go back to the documentation and grab the installation line. We paste it and hit enter. This will download, extract, install, and configure all components needed for FWCloud. Now the installation is done and FWCloud is running. We can review the Docker images we have pulled down. This is the directory structure the installation has created. And here we have access among others to the config file. Let's follow the documentation to access FWCloud from our browser. Also, we can access FWCloud UI externally. We need to type the IP address to reach the FWCloud and the port 3030. To log in, we use the customer code 1, and the initial credentials FWCadmin and FWCadmin as it is pointed in the documentation. we can create our first cloud. And our first firewall. In this case, we are going to create a secure policy for the same server that is running our firewall cloud image, so we write its username and password. And use its IP address to discover its network interfaces. All interfaces are discover. As far as policy is concerned, we are only interested on the selected ones. This is a fully functional Docker image of Firewall Cloud. Let's create a very simple example rule. And see what happens if we stop the Docker image instance. When new versions of Firewall Cloud are available, we can update the Docker images this way by issuing the docker pull command. Take into account that for updating, Docker Compose needs to be down. As expected, now we cannot access Firewall Cloud, so we are going to start it again. We log in, and we can see we still have the cloud we created before. If we go into, we have the firewall and the security policy with the rules we had composed. This is an extremely simple and quick way to start testing Firewall Cloud in your system. We hope you have enjoyed this video on how to install Firewall Cloud using Docker. Please stay tuned to learn more new features about Firewall Cloud UI.